My little bubbly-headed
Okay, I'm working more with my video equipment here in the BushCat, trying to get the quality up. I have a cold, so that doesn't help get the quality up of the videos. But I wanted to take people on a tour of what a full glass BushCat looks like, full Garmin glass. Um, it's a long story, of course, but I wasn't quite sure of what I wanted to do with the cockpit. At the time, I was building it over a year. Thought about it a lot. It was a lot of fun to consider different things. I had thought that it's unlikely that I could do full glass. It's costly and complex, I thought, and things like that, but I was interested in it. And basically, I do have an electronics and computer science background, so I read, I researched it. I found a guy on Barnstormers that was selling some used, no, not used, but like secondhand Garmin equipment. And then there's a Garmin dealer here in Thailand for radio equipment because you have to import that separately with special licenses. So all in all, I looked at it and then I said, well, I'll do the G3X, of course, and there was some great videos online, Midwest panel builders, people like this, and I didn't go with a lot of different EFIS solutions. You know, I'm an app developer, so like the iPad intrigued me, but they overheat. I mean, it's not a real practical, solid thing for an airplane, so that dropped away at some point. And then MGL seemed like they had supply issues. I don't know. I know someone here in Thailand who recently did an MGL installation. Dynon I kind of looked at, but Garmin seemed very cool with the Garmin Pilot and everything, so I thought I would just stick with something that was, they have a great offering, right? So I did fly the Dynon in Florida. There was a BushCat in Florida that had a full Dynon HDX dual screen. That was nice. But I did it. I worked on it over time and spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to fit everything in. That was is a number of boxes, so I had to figure out geometries and where to put them in to the BushCat. The panel. It was a little confusion when I ordered the BushCat. I actually I wanted a slightly bigger panel. But now I'm glad I got the smaller panel. Because it looks cooler, I think, but it was more of a challenge to fit things in, but it looks more cool. So let's go on a quick tour of it, and then we can fire up some of the electronics. Okay, so on my left is of course my G3X, the 7-inch. So that's basically my whole display there. With everything. I don't have a dual G3X system. I have a single, and I opted to put a G5 in the middle. Now, anyone who knows BushCats, they have these cables that come in, so you have to work around that situation in the center, and noise going on outside. Yeah, so I needed, of course, a backup instrument. And, these things were all expensive, but, they work so nicely together. Everything's kind of CAN bus, right? So the way I did it was, a lot of these are standard BushCat installation look to them. I improved some things. These probably look familiar to most people who have a BushCat. I did put the radio on the master so that I can fire up the radio if I want to talk before firing up the whole thing. I bought some of this stuff at Sun and Fun, these cool protective switches for the mags. And I kind of did an interesting thing for the beacon. I got this switch on Amazon from a tractor or something where it's got one switch gives power and then one switch for start, temporary switch. But what I did was I didn't really want to have ship power going through it. So I have a normal master switch going to the solenoid, and then this one is just, first position is a beacon, which it'll stay in that position. And then actually interesting, I also tied it to the only analog thing is like this tack over here. So basically, you can keep here with the, they're building a hangar outside there, new hangar. I can keep this off and then you know, not screw up my tack. I mean my hour hobs over there. Yeah. Okay. What else is interesting about this? So yeah, it's got all the standard things that you would see in any BushCat. And I saw the BushCat in Florida had the PTT over there. I like that a lot. It's cool. And then there's an aux. Yeah, so the aux is interesting. I made an aux connected directly to the battery. So what I can do is I could turn the aux switch on, and then I can charge the battery. So that's kind of a neat little thing I added, so that I can trickle charge the battery and you know, disconnect everything else from the power system. I have an option for a RAM mount over that side, and then you can connect in an adapter, and you can have power on that side for. So this is the 200B radio, and then the transponder is the 335, I think it is. So I got the this dog. I got the transponder with ADS-B and ADS-B out, so it's pretty cool. Like when the flights we did, sample flights so far, check flights, I see myself on the ADS-B exchange. I look like a super jumbo jet. I don't know why that is. Looks like a jumbo jet flying around Eastern Airport here in Pattaya, but it's pretty cool. Let's see, standard G5 here, and then yeah. So you can see here, I you know, when you're doing a panel, as everyone who's done a panel knows, I didn't know until I did one, is that you only have kind of one chance to really be doing things, and then if you tear everything apart, it's gonna just seem like a tremendous amount of work. Even do the simple things. It's now that everything's in, I don't want to go into this panel. So what I did was, I did wire it for the autopilot. So I put the autopilot disconnect circuitry and all the circuit breaker and everything. I was thinking of doing a roll autopilot, roll only. So ailerons up in the wing. So I was going to run the CAN bus up there. You can't really see it. Maybe you can. There's a magnetometer up here. I put up a magnet. I think where those pipe bracket things are. There's a magnetometer, and that's of course a CAN bus. And yeah, I was going to then continue that on and figure out how to run a servo out there and have an autopilot. So I just do power, and then because the G3X of course supports the autopilot. I thought that was pretty cool. So I added the disconnect already. I got my warning and my lights there. I love that in the G3X because you get the you know, good situational awareness. It helps, right? This port down here is interesting. I did the audio out for so I can make YouTube videos and stuff. So it actually will connect the audio out to this radio over here, which has, so I can hear ATC and I can talk, maybe, given, you know, how much interference there is and stuff. Okay, well, let me just fire it up and we can look at some of the screens and stuff. So let's see, how do I do this without chopping up the dogs? Okay, master is on. And I'll just put radio on, and I'll put my avionics on. Okay. Yeah. So, I really didn't have too much trouble fitting all the boxes. I did create a styrofoam like panel, and I put in here when I got the cowling, and I was physically playing around and doing a lot of measurements, trying to figure out, like for these radios, for example, you know, the reach of them in the back, how they you know, they have a certain depth, of course, to them, and they have cables on them. So I had to make sure that would work out, and then of course the G5 would work out with those control cables, and then you know, this G3X over here. It's going to be a lot of things that I'm not in the US, so I don't have some of the maps and all this good stuff. So yeah, that's the whole setup. Complete. Oh, I'm getting some ATCers thing. Oh no, 1223 is our local Unicom. Yeah, so that's a BushCat with a full kind of glass panel. I guess you could do remotes on the radio and transponder because you have all the. This is what I love. Is this stuff is like you got your radio controls here. Look at that, and then you got your transponder controls. It's so awesome, and yeah, it's just all the engine instruments, my ADAHRS, and I actually put out on the wing the Garmin Pitot over there. I don't know who's on the radio today. One's flying. It's a bit windy. And then, yeah. But this is a nice setup. I guess you could go remote with those two boxes. I don't know. But I was considering that. But then I said, well, they fit pretty nicely in the BushCat cowling and the BushCat main fairing, I guess. So why not? And actually, I planned for redundancy. Okay, so like my G3X had a problem. I have a G5 with the battery backup. Okay, so that's good. If my G3X had a problem, oh, that's the skydiving operation. If that happened, I would be fine with my G5 backup. Very happy with that. But then I wouldn't have radio or transponder control because if they were remote, they would go through here. So then my logic was, well, why don't I just put them up here? Then I have the redundancy of this and with the radio. So I basically have a full system, even if I didn't have, let's say, some instruments. I wouldn't have engine instruments, for example. But, I could still navigate to my destination. So that was the idea with that. So yeah, G3X in a BushCat. Thanks for watching. Let me see how to shut this down. Radio, I think I'll do off. Avionics master off and the master off. There we go. Yep. Thanks.